Bluesday. That goes for Tuesday. Wednesday is the middle of the week. Friday is payday, and Saturday's just another heyday. But Thursday, I say, is surreptitiously unique, and that's why I didn't go to work today. That is an excerpt from The Point, which is an old children's story and animation by Harry Nilsson. Harry Nilsson's like an American folk songwriter, mostly. I think he's done other stuff, but he wrote The Point, and it is about a society of people who all have pointy heads and pointy buildings, and everything has a point, but there's one child born without a point. So he goes on a great journey to discover what the point is, and basically finds out that things don't need to have a point to be valid. It's about the friends you make along the way. It's about the friends you make along the way. The friends you make along the way, you know. And I am here to tell you today that this video has no point. This video has no point at all. It is just one ASMR video in a sea of ASMR videos on YouTube, which is a website in a sea of websites on the internet. And the internet is just swimming in a sea of information in an age that is swimming with noise. So much noise today. This video has no point. This video will not be remembered by anyone except for a few. Anyone except for a few. If you remember this video, there's no point in remembering it. There's no point in remembering a little video like this. There's definitely not a point in making it, or a point in watching it, or a point in it existing, but I want you to know. I want you to know that if you are watching it, that has a point to me. And that even if this video doesn't have a point, I hope that maybe this moment can have a point to you. I hope that maybe this moment can have a point to you. Because moments are special. Not because there's so few of them, but because there's so many, and no two moments are the same. No two moments are the same. No two moments are the same. And in a sea of noise and information, and in a sea of moments and moments and moments and memories and memories and memories and memories, it's so easy to drown. And when you drown, all of the noise becomes dead, and all of the information becomes useless, convoluted, 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 and all the moments and memories just become a sort of fog of being, of existence. And inevitably, that will be what most moments are. That will be what most noise is, and most information will be convoluted. Most things you will not understand and you will not want to understand, but that gives you a lot of power because you get to decide what has a point to you. You get to decide which moments you want to keep in your head. You get to decide which moments are valuable, which memories are precious. You get to decide when to be present, when to be present, when to be present, when to be present, when to be present. You get to decide when to focus. You get to decide when to focus, when to feel your own body, to feel your own skin. You get to decide when to celebrate your autonomy and your agency, not your strength to act on your agency, not your strength to do or be, but just your strength to notice, your strength to notice and appreciate or critique. When to be present, when to be present with me, with yourself, with the birds outside, with the birds outside, or with the sounds of the cicadas, the crickets, the frogs, the sound of the garbage trucks, or the animals, or gravel scraping and scraping and scraping incessantly. But to you in this moment, it's not lost in the incessance. I don't know if incessance is a word, but we're going with it. Even if it's incessant, you don't have to lose it in its incessance. You can notice it. Notice how the cars that drive by, they all sound a little bit different. Notice in the ASMR videos that you watch how everyone is coming from a different place. Don't just think about the person making the video. Don't just think about me. Think about everyone else who might be watching this. Think about where they're coming from, what their days might have been, why they clicked this. Think about why you clicked this, and you can be present with me because I want you to watch. I want you to be here with me. I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to you. And it's hard for me to be present too sometimes. It is. I can so easily forget. And I can get lost in the sort of fog between us, but I try to look directly at you when I can and think of who you are, and I try to talk directly to you, and I try to say the things that I hope it feels good to hear, because I want you to feel good. I want you to know that even if there's no point, there is validity, and there is joy, and there is peace. There's peace. There's peace. There's peace. There's peace. 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 There's peace. And it is yours. Your peace. Your peace. There may not be a point, but there is peace. Think about your agency, your autonomy, and the strength within you, the feeling of aliveness, the feeling of aliveness. I tried to read Eckhart Tolle at some point. My cat just snored, not me. It would be okay if it was me. Not the point. I tried to read Eckhart Tolle recently, this past year. I couldn't really get into it. I think he's a very wise, smart man, and I certainly have nothing against him. I didn't even really read enough to critique him in any way. I mean, I think I liked everything that he had to say that I read, which wasn't much. But I did get to a point in A New Earth where he talks about the feeling of aliveness. The feeling of aliveness. A sort of buzzing in your skin. A buzzing in your skin. A buzzing, 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 and it reminded me of what is referred to in some Catholic theology. It's referred to sometimes as the gaze of God, the feeling of knowing that you're communing with God. Maybe I shouldn't say it's within theology, it's more like the mystics that talk about this. Maybe they talk about it in the theology. I shouldn't speak to that, honestly. I've read more of the mystics than I have the theology, the deep philosophical side of things. But a lot of the Catholic mystics have talked about the feeling of God's gaze on your soul. noise that's coming from outside of yourself, because God isn't noticing your body. God isn't looking down and saying like, oh, that person's praying, cool. From what I understand, it's more like God is noticing the soul that He's created, which is inside of you. And God is inside of your soul as well. And it's sort of like this innate love between the two. The little piece of God that is inside of yourself, as well as the Creator outside of yourself. This innate love that is accessed. It's always there, but in certain quiet moments it can be accessed. The channel can be accessed. And one thing that I appreciate about that mystical concept, and I believe it is shared in many religions, but it sometimes gets brushed over, is that the feeling of God loving you, or whatever loving you, it is a feeling of self-love. At its core, it is a feeling of looking at yourself and suddenly feeling kind of like cosmically valid, which is like a big feeling. Like, what does that mean? And it's not a feeling of having earned that validation. It's just a feeling of suddenly, without reason, without a point, knowing, having a certainty that you're valid. You're valid. Not because of successes, triumphs, failures, not because you said the right thing that one time, not because you predicted the ending of something, not because you're witty or smart or fast, but because of the shape of your soul. Because of the shape of your soul and the sheer uniqueness of it. You are valid. You are valid in the same way that moments are valid, in the same way that the unique sound of gravel can become valid if you allow yourself not to drown it out into noise. The unique sounds of birds are valid and beautiful when you give them attention. And that is the feeling of aliveness when you take that noticing and put it towards yourself. Not the noise of who you are. Not the sea of traits. Not the surface, not the shallow. But the feeling of you. The feeling of you being you. The feeling of you being you. You. You're valid. You're pretty cool, you're pretty cool, you're pretty cool. You're pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. And I value you a lot. I value you a lot. Watch watching this on your phone, watching this on your laptop or desktop, watching this on the clock, watching this after a long, hard day, watching this to celebrate a good day, watching this because you got a notification, or watching this because the real God, the algorithm, presented me to you for some reason. I see you. I see you, okay? And you're valid.